As health leaders are weighing in on whether it's safe for children to go trick-or-treating, a big deal this Halloween.
Certainly is. It's almost here. Despite the rise in cases fueled by the Delta variant, the director of the CDC says as long as the kids are outdoors, which it largely is a door-to-door, house-to-house deal, they should be fine. This comes after health leaders warned families against trick-or-treating last year because the new surge in cases was just red hot. The CDC says handing out candy is safe for kids, but they recommend trick-or-treaters go out in small groups, and they're asking families to avoid Halloween parties. Did you guys do that sort of thing when you were younger?
I did, or you can be like me and just go ahead and buy your candy corn. Then this mom tells me that last year's dance, of course, was canceled all because of the pandemic. Well, this year the dance is back, but now her student cannot attend all because of being virtual learner.
What is your message tonight to district officials?
Let our kids dance.
Concerned mom Sarah Simmons enrolled her 9th grader in Coffee County Virtual Academy more than 2 weeks ago without knowing the full limitations that would come when wanting to attend school functions.
She's been in this Coffee County system since she was 4 years old, and she's been raised with these same kids that are going to school every day and getting to enjoy these milestones that they're denying my daughter and 20-something, 25 some odd other kids.
What is your response to folks who say, hey, you made the decision to keep your student at home and learn virtually, so therefore the school doesn't have to necessarily have your student participate in these sorts of activities?
You know, I can understand where they're coming from. People choose to keep their children home for different reasons.
But Simmons strongly believes those reasons should not disqualify her student from attending the district's October 1st outdoor homecoming dance. Director of Schools Dr. Charles Lawson replied to my specific question regarding virtual learners by telling Fox 17 News Coffee County Central High School and Coffee County Raider Academy are combining homecoming activities.
Why allow all the students from Raider Academy to attend the homecoming?
Dr. Lawson's email states they are trying to take as many COVID mitigation precautions as possible in order to provide a homecoming dance. Limiting attendees is one mitigation strategy.
It's a handful of kids. What is it going to hurt to allow them to enjoy the same milestones as their peers?
Tonight, this parent hoping virtual learning doesn't hinder her students' homecoming experience.
Now, we did a Fox 17 Twitter poll asking if you all agree with the district's decision to keep virtual learners from doing certain school functions. Nearly 70% of you all said no, you do not agree with this decision.
Yeah, well, actually, this is why we need help. The community needs to weigh in to talk about what they want to see with the Jefferson Street cap. If you take a look at your screen, Mayor Cooper weighing in on just how you can do that. A meeting coming up October 9th. That is happening at 12 o'clock. Now, the proposal comes almost 6 decades after I-40 physically divided North Nashville. Construction ran directly through black neighborhoods, displacing 1,400 residents and causing economic harm to the area. The hope now is for the Jefferson Street cap to recreate usable space that was once lost in the 60s. No existing homes or businesses would be removed, and the cap would cover Interstate 40 between Jefferson and Scoville Streets from D.B. Todd Boulevard to 14th Avenue North. And one main goal of the project is to just build a future that honors the legacy of the Jefferson Street corridor.
Metro Schools paid millions of dollars to Meharry Medical College Ventures to get our kids back in school at the beginning of this year. This no-bid COVID-19 mitigation contract cost taxpayers $11.1 million for just 4.5 months of work.
Tonight, Dennis Ferrier has an exclusive interview with someone who worked for Meharry Ventures in Metro Schools in tonight's Fox 17 News Investigates.
You might remember one of the eye-widening expenses in this contract was training. $1 million in training and still counting. But one employee who worked in a school says there was almost no training. We hid her identity because she doesn't want to make any waves with her current employer. The COVID-19 school monitors. Nashville Public Schools paid to have 2 monitors in every school.
You sat in a room with a little desk and you just sat there.
This woman, we'll call her Dee, worked in one of these schools, and the first thing she will tell you is she did almost nothing right from day one.
It was boring. It was really boring. And I said to this guy, I said, is this what you do? You sit in this room for 8 hours? He said, well, no, occasionally I get up and walk the hall. And at the end of the day, I go out and and go to one of the doors where the children leave, and that was it. You made sure children had masks, that they social distanced, but the teachers were already doing that. You know, the school already had that in place.
You've seen all of the training bills, $245,000 a month. Train the trainer. But on the ground, in the schools, how much training did Dee say she had?
There was no training. You went online and answered some questions about COVID, and that was your training.
Really? And you went straight to work, and that was it?
Yes. You had the only holdup was a very in-depth background check that took 2.5 weeks to return.
Remember the $1.9 million Nashville Public Schools paid for temperature scanners. You can see here in an invoice on March 15th, they say those cameras were delivered. Dee says her school didn't have any, and she started in April. What about the thermometers and checking?
We didn't have any. Not at the schools I was at.
But this was April.
April, almost the end of the school year.
So why did Dee come forward despite her reservations? She felt it was the right thing to do.
When I saw you start this story, I thought, oh my gosh, finally someone is picking up on this. You know, it wasn't just me. There was something that didn't quite measure up. Get some answers and get them now, because somebody is getting really wealthy off of your tax dollars that you're supposed to be spending on your kids.
We asked MNPS if the temperature scanners were being built to order, and they knew they couldn't be delivered until March, April, mid-April. Was it not a waste of taxpayer money? We got absolutely no response. The only way to get to the bottom of this contract is an investigative audit.